Emma and the Blue Genie. The Bottle in the Moonlight. Emma loved the ocean. The house where she and her family lived stood right behind the dunes, and at night you could hear the waves rush over the sand. To Emma, that was the most beautiful lullaby in the world. Her four brothers, however, thought that it sounded like a growling sea monster, and it made them dream of giant octopuses that pulled them out of their beds with wet arms. Brothers are strange. During the day they fight and scuffle, and at night their fear of the dark won't let them sleep. Nearly every night, one of Emma's brothers crawled into her bed to hide from sea monster and octopuses, only to immediately start snoring so noisily that she couldn't hear the rush of the sea anymore. It was on nights like those that Emma put on her bathrobe and snuck out of the house to trudge through the dark and down to the water. The salty wind whispering across the waves, the beach stretching from one end of the night to the other. It all belonged to her alone. It was wonderful. Four brothers can be quite hard work for one girl. So every now and then she really needed a little solitude. The darkness never scared Emma. After all, she had Tristan with her. His legs might have been as short as breadthrusts, and his tail might have looked like a twirly noodle. But he also had lots of pointy teeth in his mouth. Sitting on wet sand is not very comfortable. So Emma always took a cushion with her to the beach. On that cushion, Emma and Tristan sat side by side, and the sea breathed at their feet like a living thing. On clear nights, when the moon poured a silver highway onto the water, Emma imagined that at the other end of that highway lay the most beautiful and wondrous land on earth. People rode on camels, and palm trees swayed in the warm breeze. There were no brothers in that land, or maybe a few teeny weeny ones who were very gentle and only wanted to scuffle on Saturdays. Nobody went to school or had to work. The sun shone every day, and there was just enough rain to water the oases, which lay like shimmering diamonds at the edge of the desert. Who knows? Maybe the moon likes to eavesdrop on the thoughts of girls who sit alone by the sea with noodle tailed dogs. Maybe he listens to their dreams and tries to make them come true, maybe. One night, when Emma again came trudging down the beach with Tristan and their cushion, there was a bottle floating in the moon's silver water. It bobbed just a few steps away from the water's edge. Its it shimmered and flickered as though someone had stopped it with 1,000 glowworms. Emma tried to pull the bottle from the water, but her arms were at least a couple of feet too short. So Tristan waded into the cool waves. I wonder what's in there, Emma said, as Tristan dropped a bottle in front of her feet. Do you think I should open it? The glimmering and glowing made her feel a little uneasy. But Tristan just looked at her and smacked his lips, which meant something like, of course you should open it. If he'd meant you better not, he would have turned his backside to her. Fine, if you say no, if you say so, Emma said, but it's your fault. If something bad happens, then she pulled the stopper from the bottle. Karim. Cornflower blue smoke billowed from the bottle. More and more of it. Emma stumbled back, and Tristan stuck his head in the sand. The blue smoke grew arms and legs, and head so bad and shiny that it reflected the moonlight. Salam alaikum. The ghost from the bottle whispered, Greetings, O my fair saver. Mine is, my name is Karim. Karim the beardless, and he bowed so deeply that his bald head touched the sand. Touched the sand. Very pleased to meet you. Emma stammered. She also bowed, though not quite so deeply. When she straightened herself up again, she noticed that the genie was only a head taller than her. I am sorry, Emma said. After all, she didn't know whether genies were easily offended. But are you still growing? I mean, as far as I remember, the genies in my fairy tales are always huge. Karim sighed so deeply that the sand stirred up and covered his naked toes. Oh, you are right, my mistress, he called out dolefully, and I once was indeed much bigger. I could shake the hand of my caliph while he stood on the highest tower of his palace. His dromedary would sleep in the palm of my hand, yet no, I am as small as a desert hedgehog and as weak as a nosebug. With these words, the genie began to sob so hard that his tears dropped on the sand like rain. Oh dear, Emma said comfortingly, and how did you become so smart? Tristan pulled his head out of the sand and snipped Karim's toes, which Emma thought was not very respectful. Can you see? The genie snapped. My nose ring is gone, stolen and a heinous act of treachery. Without the ring, I am nothing, a maggot, a mere mouse, a snail being scored and shriveled by the sun. Oh, Emma exclaimed. She looked at Karim's blue nose. Blue nose. It did look rather nice. Who stole the ring? She asked. Karim rubbed his hand over his eyes, saw him. He breathed, saw him, the master of evil, the most dastardly of all your genies. He stole my ring, he stoppered me and to that bottle and he threw me into the sea. Emma quickly held out a handkerchief that was a bit crumpled and smelled of dog biscuits, but the genie accepted it gladly. That's really not a reason to cry, said Emma, while Karim dabbed the tears from his lashes, and even his lashes were blue. By the way, I wouldn't have known what to wish for anyway. You are too genius, my mistress. The genie sniffed. He smiled sadly as he handed Emma her handkerchief. I shall be in your debt for your and 3,000 days. He learned. He leaned down and picked up his bottle. He shook it, and something dropped out of it, something that looked like a crumpled piece of fabric. Yet, when the genie gently blew on it, the cloth started to unfurl like a flower, and it was suddenly a carpet. It looked a little tattered, but it was very beautiful. The genie shuddered as he shook the cool damp sand from his feet. Then he sat down on the carpet with a deep sigh. Farewell, my mistress, he said with a cower in his voice. I shall fly back to my homeland to free my caliph and all of Barash from the yellow genie. But you have Karim's solemn vow. I shall return as soon as my ring is back on his wrist. Nose. By then you will definitely have thought of 3 wishes. He clapped his hands and the carpet rose and carried him out over the sea. He clapped his hands and the carpet rose and carried him out over the sea. Emma stood there and looked after the genie. She had no idea why she was suddenly so sad. The wind blew her hair into her eyes, and Karim's figure slowly melted into darkness. Oh, Tristan, I hope he really does come back, she said, not because of the wishes. Really, I mean, yes, I definitely could have thought of some, but I would like to hear more about that yellow genie. Tristan showed his nose against her knee. He looked up her expectantly. Of course, he murmured, why didn't I think of that? Karim, where Tristan said, we are coming with you. The night had already all but swallowed Karim's blue figure, and at first Emma thought he hadn't heard her, but then she saw the carpet flying back toward the beach. Yalla! The genie shouted. He pulled at the carpet tassel, but still crashed down so hard next to Emma that he rolled headfirst into the sand. Apologies, but I am a little out of practice. He hopped as he stood up. Did I hear you right? You want to accompany me, that is. Certainly an honor. But Karim cleared his throat and lowered his voice. You are still very young, he whispered to Emma, and your dog is barely bigger than a desert rat. How is he going to challenge the master of evil? Either he has the heart of a lion or his mind is a little weak. Oh, yeah, oh, his mind is perfectly fine, Emma said a little crossly. And believe me, we are used to trouble. I have four brothers, and Tristan has to deal with dogs twice his size all the time. So I don't think he's going to be scared by some yellow genie. Tristan seemed to agree, but he strutted toward the carpet, gave it a little snip, and then rolled himself up on it. Karim looked at Tristan as though he had never seen a dog by the beardless chin of my Caleb. He shouted, dogs are not valued very highly in Barakash. But from this day on, I shall bow my head in respect to every one of them. Good, that's settled then, said Emma before they took off. Emma quickly wrote a note to her parents. But Emma didn't want to sleep after all. This was the most exciting night of her life, and being 8 years old, she had already lived through nearly 3,000 nights. But then, over some strange ocean, her eyes fell shut.